This episode drops July 1st. Canada turns the big 157. Man, I remember the 157. If you've seen the Highlander movies and you know my last name is McLeod, you'll understand. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy and safe Canada Day. If you're here at home or abroad, happy Canada Day.
Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. It's been a while. I've met you once before, roughly a year ago at a party.
About a year ago. Yeah.
So what's new?
Since I saw you last, I don't know. Still building vans.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we're doing right now, but in a good way. We love it.
Nice.
And it takes a lot of time, and the interest is still high, and never been happier to work 6 days a week. Really and truly. Yeah, I love it.
Before we get into the vans, why don't we start at the beginning?
Sure.
Are you from this area?
Yeah, well, we moved here. I moved here with my family in '89 when I was in grade 12. So not born and raised, but been here an awfully long time anyway. Yeah.
Still, you were moved here from somewhere else in Canada, though?
Yeah.
Not abroad? Okay.
Yeah. From Stouffville, Uxbridge area, northeast of Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then you went to school, and I believe you were an engineer or designer?
Yeah, a designer. Yeah. Brent and I went to school together, actually, our mutual friend. We studied architectural technology. We studied at Fanshawe College in London. And coming out of there, it was actually really slow in the industry. You almost couldn't buy a job. And I was lucky enough to get a position at a new engineering firm, sort of focusing on structural and civil work. There's an awful lot of crossover between architectural work and structural design, from a building point of view and whatnot. So it was a really easy transition in that respect. But it started with a new company there. I was the third employee, including the owner. So really small company, and then worked there for 25 years, up until about 3 years ago now. So during that time, the company grew from 3 to, we might have been 70-ish people at its height. And, like everything, things change. And this was also around COVID too. I thought it was time to move on and try something different. So Faye and I had decided in the summer of COVID, 2020, as we were all sitting around the backyard, looking at our phones, and there wasn't anything to do, right? I fell down the rabbit hole on YouTube of camper vans, and watched a bunch of those. Got kind of keen on the idea of building one, and I floated the idea to Faye, and to my surprise, she thought that was a good idea. Really? So I got a green light from my wife, which was fantastic. So we bought a van and ordered one. Ordered a van. Van came in, started building it, and as I started building that was right around the time, and I'm sure it was part of my decision to leave. It's hard to know. It's a bit of chicken and egg. Okay.
Initially, I agreed because I was hoping you were going to build that van for us.
Oh yeah, it was going to be exactly. Yeah, the intent was that would be our van.
Right. I was actually going to say that because that's actually on your website.
Yeah, exactly.
But initially we were
started building it for ourselves, and then I sold it.
That was actually going to be one of my questions. Was Your very first one, did you start with a brand new van, or did you just buy a used one and just to try it out? But sounds like you went with a brand new one right
Yeah,
off
it
the
was a
hop.
brand new one.
Wow.
It's
So you're all in.
Oh yeah, we were all in. But like even a used one is still really expensive, and especially at that time for COVID, there was the used ones were still really high value.
Right.
So you know, the thing is, you spend so much money in time and materials fitting one of those out. My opinion is always it's a shame to do it on an older chassis, right?
Right.
May as well, have it for as long as possible. We looked at a couple used ones, but didn't find anything that really satisfied us. So
You were talking about getting brand new vans.
Mhm.
Do you always use the same van now that you're rolling?
we have so far, and it's not a hard and fast rule. But the Ford Transit all-wheel drive is the one that we prefer, and it's been all of our builds except one. We did one different model, which was a client preference, and that's completely fine.
That was the Dodge.
Yeah, exactly. But the only other really one you could do is a Sprinter. Mercedes Sprinter has a van that suits conversions as well, and it's on our list. We'll probably do one. I believe wholeheartedly in the Ford product, and I won't go into it all, but I've got lots of reasons why I think that's a suitable chassis to do the builds on. But they tend to be all the Fords. Yeah. We know them pretty intimately.
Nice. Well, that's got to help.
Yeah, it does help. Absolutely.
Make things
Yeah.
a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So I guess the only thing that would change in the future, say for choosing a different van, is if one was slightly bigger maybe, or if there's something new that you wanted to do to it and it's just not enough room in it, I guess.
Yep.
Or
Yep. Yeah, there's different sizes so the Ford you can get in different versions, sort of short, medium, and long in length. We tend to use the longest is what we've done. Same with Sprinters, they come in different lengths too. Both with their high roof options are tall enough to I can stand up very well in there. I'm 6'2", and even after we take up some floor space with insulation and block down the ceiling to insulate it and whatnot, there's still easily room for me to stand up. So we could certainly do Sprinters. Sprinters are in the future. I think they look sexy, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
And we will be right back. Are you looking to take your engineering project to the next level? Look no further than Artas Engineering and Design. At Artas Engineering and Design, they specialize in innovative solutions that push the boundaries of what's possible. Specializing in structural design, project management, building science, and building design for commercial, industrial, institutional, government, and nuclear. Their team of expert engineers are here to turn your vision into a reality. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to excellence, Artas Engineering and Design delivers high-quality, reliable, and efficient services tailored to meet your needs. From concept to final implementation, they have you covered every step of the way. Visit them at artaseng.ca to learn more about their services and see how they can make your next project a success. That's artaseng, artaseng.ca. And now back to the show. So, out of all the builds you've done, what's your most technical one you've done so far?
2 loons.
I don't know what that means.
That's the name of the van.
Okay.
Yeah, they all have a name. And 2 loons, there's a close runner-up, but 2 loons is probably the most technical. Lots of hydronic systems in it, so it's heated with a little boiler. The trade name is S-Bar, so it's got a little S-Bar heater mounted underneath the van, and the heater runs off of gasoline. Okay, so there's an auxiliary fuel port that dips off of the vehicle's tank, so you don't have to carry a separate fuel tank. It's only the one fuel source. We don't use propane for lots of reasons, mostly because it scares me.
Fair enough.
and I'm not what's the word? I don't have the expertise to work with propane, nor the credentials, so I'm just happy not to touch it. But yeah, S-bar boiler runs off of fuel. It's hydronic, so it's a closed loop coolant system, just like in your car, in your radiator. We put a heat exchanger up in the engine compartment, so we can pull heat from the engine's coolant system when the engine is running, whether it's at idle or while you're driving. The loops run back into the van. There's an in-floor heat loop system. So again, same thing, hydronic loops, heating the floor. There's a couple of different heat exchangers in there. There is a water tank, so for your domestic hot water, the same coolant loop has there's a heat exchanger built into the tank, right? So you get your hot water from that same fuel source.
Nice.
That van also has a recycling shower in it. Okay, so the shower is on a closed system with about a 3-gallon capacity. There's a little tiny tank, a series of media filters, a couple of different pumps, and a UV filter. So that same 3 gallons just runs around and around and around. Once you get your head past, oh, I'm showering in my own dirty water, it makes an awful lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay. See, we try and design our vans to be as off-grid capable as possible. Okay. And it's sort of a half a joke, but I think it's true. But I always say to people that there's 3 reasons why you're going to come home from being on an off-grid trip. You're either going to run out of food, you're going to run out of water, or you're going to run out of electricity, right? I hope you come home because you ran out of food. If you did, then the systems that we put in are going to give you enough power and enough water for the duration that you want to go. So when you think about it, right, how much water you can use in a shower, and if you're off grid, all you've got is the 40-gallon tank that you fill before you go. So depending on how you shower, and if there's 2 of you there, it wouldn't take more than a couple of showers before you could really start to deplete that, right?
Right.
So having a recycling kit, you could go for, let's say you're off grid for a week. There's no reason in the world why you and your wife or your partner can't have shower every other day or whatever you choose to do on that same system. So that's another great component in that van. Lots of communications equipment in there in terms of antenna, Starlink antenna, and modem equipped as well.
So even when you're off grid, you can still be connected to the internet if you need it to be. Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah.
It's a full package, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can be connected everywhere you go. Yeah, we put in an additional alternator in the van. That alternator is dedicated to just produce power to recharge the house batteries. Okay. And that'll recharge when you're driving and your idle speed's up at 1500 RPM plus, highway speed. It'll generate around 210, 220 amps, which is really pretty good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh. I was going to ask you what the advantage of a van like what you build versus like a normal RV, but yeah, you basically just explained it. It's basically these are people that want to go backcountry, off-road.
Right.
Whereas a normal RV is more for just going to a campsite pretty much, right? So
yeah, I think so. That's how I view it. Yeah, our vans will put in suspension upgrades as well. So we raise the van a little bit, put in a heavier duty suspension, swap out the tires, bigger diameter, wider, 10-ply off-road tires, if you will. So the premise is, yeah, you can take that camper, that van down the little logging roads. They're past where all the RVs are stopped and get back to some neat little campsites.
So now everybody else is jammed up in traffic, you can drive down in the ditch and go around them.
Exactly. Theoretically. I don't know that I would. But.
So your company name, where did that come from?
Oh, ShopDog Vans. When we started building our van, we rented some space from a friend of ours who's now an employee. And I started taking our dog Henry with us every day to the shop. And Chris, my partner there, he says, "Oh, we have a shop dog now." So yeah, we do. So as we went looking for a name, Chris says, "How about ShopDog Vans?" But yeah,
Oh, it's easy as
sure,
that,
I get it. That sticks. Yeah,
huh? Sometimes it's just right in front of you. You don't even see it, right?
exactly.
It was just like when I started this, it was I came up with a list of like 30 different names for the podcast,
Yeah.
and it was Martin that just said it's called Garage 33. It was already written on the wall. I think he only wanted it like that because he came up with the name. He just started calling this Garage 33.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
So does each one of your vans come with a USB drive or a disc of Neil Young? Since you're such a big Neil Young fan.
That I don't know. Depending on who you are, that might be an upsell or a downsell. It might cost me money if I start flogging Neil Young.
You go to many
I've seen him a couple of times. I'm not as fanatical in terms of a concert goer, but you may have heard Neil just canceled his London appearance. We were going to go and see him on July 13th, 2.5 weeks from now or whatever. But so that got canceled, which is too bad. It might be the last time to see him.
Do you have 1,000 posters like what Brent does all over the basement, and some are framed, some aren't?
No, I don't. I've read a few books on him, and I have probably just about every. Well, it was CDs and now digital, but I've got the whole collection and read up on him and whatnot.
So no free Neil Young CDs in the vans.
No.
So you said something about HGTV when we were talking off mic,
Oh yeah.
or some TV show like that. I'm not sure which one you.
Yeah.
I guess you didn't really mention which one it was. Just
Yeah, well, it was going to be a news show. There's a TV producer that I had done a little bit of work with him about 10 years ago, and he had ran into a mutual friend, and the friend had said, "Oh yeah, Brad Miller's doing this now and building vans," and sort of struck him. He thought, "Hey, that would be a cool idea for a show." So he phoned me up out of the blue, and we had a little talk about it, and would I be interested? I said, yeah, sounds kind of neat. So the premise would be, a reality show of sorts, a little bit documentary-ish, maybe a little bit, like your standard reality show. They were going to come out and film once a week, do a day of filming once a week, and then put up cameras around the shop to sort of document things. The project, like all good things, it needs funding, right?
right.
So he's looking for some money, looking for a partner or a sponsor, or somebody who'd be interested to put it together. So hopefully that comes to fruition. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Should talk to Artist Engineering. I hear that's a fairly new company that is doing well. I'm sure they have lots of money they could probably throw your way.
Yeah, they could be the sponsor. I like that idea.
It's funny. I was when I first heard about you with your possibility of a TV show, I kept picturing, like you said, like almost like a documentary style where they show the builds or whatever, and then as that expands, multiple shops are doing it, and then it'd be like a build off, kind of like how they're doing with the TVs or TVs on TV with the houses or renovations, right? So you have three teams all doing the same thing.
Yeah,
Could
be neat.
I think that'd be interesting.
It could be neat. It's my hope would be more of a. Remember This Old House?
Yep.
Norm Abrams and my hope would be something like that. More instructional, more of not a documentary, but I guess maybe more instructional.
Right.
That's not what sells today, so I expect when it comes right down, if it comes right down to it, that the producer will want to follow that recipe, right?
Yeah.
Of a contrived, oh, we're behind and we're over budget, and oh, we didn't count on this. Now we need to make a choice. Do you want to give this up or choose that instead? And how can we get back on track? And a little sidebar where an employee's doing something stupid and I have to reprimand them. And then some little surprise that I'm going to not show the clients until the end. Like there's a lot of shows like that.
I'm going to say, right? I watch 4 or 5 shows that are like that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
So you were saying with your technical build, is there going to be room? I guess there's always room, but with everyone talking about AI and stuff, so would your bands be going in the smart direction, where you've got panels on the walls where you can run things from the panels, or is that something that you already have? That's
a perfectly timed question. Great foresight on your part. As it happens, we just finished one.
Oh, wow.
that has a lot of that tech in it. It's sitting in an importer's yard right now in Michigan. It'll be released in a couple of weeks, and then we're going to meet our clients there to hand it over to them. They're from Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Great couple. Love those guys. He is a computer programmer, software tech guy by trade. And he brought an awful lot of ideas to that build, which frankly are far beyond me, right? It's his expertise, not mine. So he had some vision for adding tech and a lot of it, in terms of controls, remote controls, and so on. So he integrated a Raspberry Pi computer in there. I mean, he's got the Peplink modem and the Starlink for connectivity. But he's integrated Alexa, and I'm going to muddy this a little bit because it's outside of my expertise. But he's brought in different software, a whole nother another interface, like a screen, like an iPad that's mounted there, and he's done all kinds of programming. We put a Bluetooth switch on every single circuit in the van. It's a little device that I wired in. They're all hidden behind the walls and so on. But the end result is he can control everything. One from his app remotely. He's connected, right? He was working on his van before it left our shop. He's at home in Colorado programming live onto the van, right?
That's awesome.
So I haven't seen yet what his final result is going to be. But it's the van's name is Farah. Okay. So as you say, hey, Alexa, do this, he's going to have, hey, Farah, set the mood for dinner. These lights will go down. These lights will come up, hey, Farah, get the shower ready. It'll turn on the heat and start the pump going and certain things like that.
That's awesome. I want that for my house.
I know. It's really neat. We were talking about it. He's having me put all these switches and things in, and I said, don't you think this is an awful lot of work just to be able to control things with your phone? He says, no, Brad, you're not thinking deep enough. I said, that's probably true. But he says, okay. We had been talking about when is it appropriate to turn on the heaters for the gray tank, right? So there's a tank underneath the van that collects the water from the sink, from the shower, and so on. And obviously, if you're in freezing conditions, you don't want it to freeze overnight on you. So we have heaters in there. You don't want to have them on all the time because they use too much electricity. So how do you manage that? He says, okay, imagine this. I have the computer set up to know, like to measure by GPS, to know where we are on the planet, at what altitude. They're going to be in mountains a lot. Latitude, longitude, altitude. The computer will pull the weather forecast for that location by the hour. And then we say, okay, the point, the hour at which it goes below freezing, or as we're supposed to go below freezing, turn on the heat an hour before that kind of thing. Huh. Yeah, okay, that's kind of neat. If you've got that technical mind, a creative mind, really and truly, there's all kinds of things, all kinds of possibilities for control and automation. Not AI yet, but a lot of automation. We put in a harness in his van that will allow the van to it will cause the van to turn on and start charging the batteries when he's gone. Okay,
Just to keep it where it's supposed to be.
to keep the batteries charged,
Right.
the house batteries, because the vehicle's engine is really your generator, right? So this harness, among other things, it measures the voltage level. So when the voltage in the house batteries drop to a certain level, the engine turns on, and it'll run for hour, 2 or 3 until it satisfies the charge level.
So does Farah have a little red light that goes back and forth on the grill? That's all I'm thinking about when you're talking about how dense this van is. So
Kit.
yeah,
Yeah.
they need to come up with a name closer to Kit then.
Yeah.
So I was listening to this guy on YouTube the other day, and he was talking about his equipment or whatever. But it sounds like you're doing the same thing, where he wants things to be future-proof. So by adding all these extra sensors and everything in, later on down the road, when you want to add, say, something else, well, it's already a sensor there for that.
Yes.
That can also piggyback off of that to accomplish this
Yeah,
different goal,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So I like that idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you were saying there, are we going a little too far? I don't think there's too far anymore. It's just you have to keep going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, fair enough. Everything, it moves fast. And I mean, it's one thing to renovate your house, but it's really difficult to renovate a van, like to pull wire or add amenities after the fact. Anything can be done, right? But I always ask my clients, you have any notion of ever adding something more here or there? Like I'll pull wire and leave wire buried and hidden in a number of places for just in case.
yeah,
But yeah, this Farah's owner, and when I had an agreement, I said, you've got your vision for the controls and the automation here, but please don't expect me to make that work. Right? He says, oh, no, Brad, I get this. Okay, good. You tell me the parts that you want. Go and buy this device, and I need you to install it over here. No problem. I'll power it up. I'll run all the cables you want, but the programming is outside of my bailiwick.
it's awesome. It's almost like this guy's like a Elon Musk. I just want to throw this here. I want to do this here.
Yeah.
I mean, really, unless he's done this already, which maybe he has or hasn't, I don't know. But he'd be shooting from the hip really on this one, right?
Yeah, it's new territory. I mean, he's got a huge tech background, very intelligent and creative in that respect. But it's his first van, So yeah, a lot of he's taking his experience from his work, and and the couple of years he spent planning the van too. There's a lot of things to watch on the internet and whatnot. So I think he pulled all those things together and came up with a vision for what he wanted to see it do.
That's what's great about creative people. They just they get something in their mind and they just kind of go for it, and they know what they can and can't do before they start out. And maybe somewhere along the way they go, yesterday I couldn't do that. Now with today's knowledge today, I can do it. It's one of those things where, like you said, everything's moving so fast that something that can't be done yesterday can be done tomorrow, though.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough. That's true.
I mean, it could be in 2 weeks. You could have vans that are flying.
Maybe ShopDog airplanes. Yeah.
I may have seen Back to the Future 2 one too many times.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're a busy person, so I should probably let you go. You got places to go, people to see.
Sure.
Unless there's anything else you want to talk about, or
I don't think so.
no? All right. Well, again, thanks a lot for coming out.
Thanks for inviting me over to chat with you today. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Anytime you want to come back. I mean, we were talking before off mic. I do have one listener in Belgium.
Right.
The listener wants to reach out. Maybe they want to get on a list for a van. Get in touch with Brad here. He's got a website or an email.
Yeah. ShopDogVans.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can find us on there.
Well, great. Well, have to have you come back on. We can talk about some of your newer bands that you've created.
It's a great idea. Right. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'd love to come back. Thanks for having me.
Talk to you all again next time.